Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to be talking about a newer Apple TV Plus release, Wolfwalkers. Before we begin, let me know in the comments if you are looking forward to this or what your thoughts were if you've seen it already. And make sure to give this a thumbs up if you like these reviews because it helps me out immensely if you do that. Also, if you're new here and you like movies, please consider hitting that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with reviews of new releases and some classics. But now, let's jump right into it. This takes place in 1650 Ireland, where Robyn, voiced by Honor Kneafsey, accompanies her father Bill, voiced by Sean Bean, to help exterminate the wolves in the woods surrounding a small town. When she ventures out on her own against her father's wishes, she encounters Mebh, voiced by Eve Whittaker, who lives among the wolves and calls herself a wolfwalker, which gives her the ability to transform into a wolf. When a friendship forms between the two, Robyn's given the powers of a wolfwalker, transforming her into the very thing her father has set out to destroy. So of all the movies getting released this month, it was this along with Soul that were my two most anticipated of the month. It was produced by Saloon, the company behind The Secret of Kells, Song of the Sea, and The Breadwinner. And I haven't seen any of those films, but they're on my list to check out, especially upon my realization that all of them have been nominated for Best Animated Feature at the Oscars. And this looks like it'll continue that streak, and I certainly hope that's the case because this movie was incredible. Everything from the story, to the voices, to the animation. And let's start there. It's rare to see a 2D animated film these days, and I gotta say, I really do wish we got more of them because the visuals here are stunning. The style makes it feel like something out of an older animated production with very simple drawings at times. The attention to detail is usually more on what's in the foreground rather than the background, but even then, everything is bursting with color and is absolutely beautiful to look at. The highlights for me in terms of animation would be when a character is in wolfwalker form and roaming through the forest of the town, and the stylistic choices applied to the movement of the characters here is breathtaking. And there were even a few moments, especially in the third act, where we'd have this aspect ratio change so that it captured this huge landscape. And these were moments where I wish I was able to see this in theaters because these are just purely cinematic. There were so many of these images that you could just frame. And what's incredible too is for the scenes where the backgrounds weren't as detailed, I was okay with this because the sound mixing complemented everything so well. It wouldn't even feel like I was watching an animated film at times. There are moments where, if we're in a crowded town area, you could hear every little noise, like all the footsteps or the random chatter among the townsfolk. Or if we were in the forest, you hear noises like leaves rustling. And it was so intricate that it felt very immersive. Like, I felt like I was right there. And it added to my attachment to both these characters and the story because if I close my eyes and just listen to this, it felt incredibly real. And I gotta hand it to the production team for their top-notch work here because this really made this world come to life. As for the characters themselves, they were all wonderful here, and I really enjoyed the journey we go on with them. The film has a ton of fairy tale influences, but also manages to provide us a lot of really personal family drama throughout this. Robyn was an absolutely delightful protagonist to follow, because she's very cheery and upbeat, with a goal of just wanting to be like her father when she grows up. And I also really enjoyed the dynamic between her and Mebh. What I really appreciate about Mebh especially is that even though she lives among the wolves, she isn't portrayed as this sort of backward savage who has this really simplistic understanding of the world, because she's actually just as clever as Robyn, and her time with the wolves has given her an understanding of how to navigate through the world. And so the situation she's in is that her mom is currently trapped in her wolf form and can't get back to her normal body for reasons Mebh isn't sure of. So she's been absent for quite some time, and her time without her mother has forced her to mature and take charge of situations that she normally wouldn't have to take charge of, which gives her a very commanding presence. And for that, I thought she was really well written. Now, while the film's mainly focused on the relationship between Robyn and Mebh, it also explores the relationship between Robyn and her father, and it was just as beautiful, especially with Sean Bean's incredible voice work here. He tries to keep Robyn away from the forest, and they do get into repeated disagreements, but what I really liked about how this was executed was, even though things got tense between the two, and there were moments where Bill wouldn't listen to reason, he wouldn't just fly off the handle here like you'd see in a lot of other movies that explored similar relationships. He's definitely overprotective, and he's adamant as far as his wishes, but you can tell he does understand where his daughter's coming from, to a degree. agree. Like, he's not really just being a jerk for the sake of it, because he really wants what's best for her, and even if he approaches some situations with tunnel vision, he really does at times try to see things from her perspective, and I found it to be a much more effective relationship to convey than just a parent who immediately gets angry. So some of the moments between Robyn and Bill were truly some of my favorite parts of the movie. I also found this to hit some great themes, most notably about man's relationship with nature. I'd say this is a very pro-environment film. The villains here are these authoritative officials who want to rip through the woods and exterminate these wolves that weren't even invading the towns. The only reason they want to get rid of the wolves is to create more land for themselves. And part of this fight is not just Mebh trying to find her mom, but also to preserve the land that the wolves already have and to protect nature. And through some of the beautiful animation, it shows just how wonderful the environment is. And I thought the film did a great job acting as this love letter to Mother Nature on top of telling an emotionally compelling story. Now, as for negatives, I really only have a few. One is the fact that while executed really well, there are a lot of story elements that will feel pretty familiar. It does hit a few dramatic beats that we've seen countless times before and will be predictable in a few areas. One film in particular that this really reminded me of at one point is Beauty and the Beast, and I won't spoil how as it's due to something in the third act, but you'll know what I mean when you see it. And the only other criticism is that while the villains worked as part of this message about the environment, as I mentioned earlier, they're also otherwise not the most memorable. The head villain is known as the Lord Protector, which as a quick aside, I'll say is very funny considering Sean Bean's in this and the Lord Protector is a title used in Game of Thrones, but he doesn't exactly have a really unique personality here. He's just a typical cold, angry, heartless authoritarian who barks orders at people and says nasty things, but nothing he did truly stuck out to me. Overall, this was fantastic, and a true breath of fresh air. This film serves as a reminder that 2D animation is absolutely stunning, as we see through some beautiful visuals here. And I do hope we see more of these films in the near future. This also boosts some really fleshed out characters, along with some great themes such as man's relationship with nature and preserving the environment, which makes it a wonderful time. It's on Apple TV Plus now, and I highly recommend checking it out. Wolfwalkers gets an 8.5 out of 10. So let me know, did you see Wolfwalkers or are you planning to see it, and what were your thoughts? Did you like the story? Did you enjoy the themes? And do you prefer hand-drawn or CGI animation? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it, and for more movie reviews and film discussion, please make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay updated. Thanks for watching everyone, and I'll catch you next time.